So I found going back to school very difficult. I think you get this real sense when someone dies that time stops because your whole world has stopped, and you live in a bubble for a bit where you just don't do anything. You kind of just sit there and contemplate what your life has turned into, and when you step back into your old routine, you realise how much time has kept moving forwards, and that's really difficult. But I had an amazing support network at school. My head of year made sure I had every option possible, and he actually gave me some control back in my life. He said I could leave lessons when I wanted to, and he gave me that power. And there's something about death that leaves you feeling very powerless, and to regain some of that control was really, really beneficial for me. And once I returned back to school, it was actually okay. I remember the first day I went in with my best friend. We went in the car together and walked in, and everyone kind of went, "Oh, she's back," and it was like, yep. And I mean, they asked me if they should do an assembly on it to my year and say, look, Honor's been off school for a bit, it's because her dad's died, please be respectful. And I didn't want that. I didn't want everyone to know, because I feel like people treat you differently, not just because, of course they're going to treat you differently, and people kind of walk on eggshells around you. I didn't want that, and I kind of wanted everything to be the same because everything at home was so different. I wanted some normality, and that's what I got. When I got to school, same teachers, same faces, same place, and I got there and I was like, okay, thank goodness this hasn't changed, and I fit in nicely, and I sometimes prefer being at school to being at home. Because when you lose a family member, the whole dynamic changes in your family. When you go from 3 to 4 or 5 to 4 or whatever, you've got to work out a new dynamic, and suddenly I step up and become more adult, and so does my brother, and that's all changing, but we've all got to work it out, and you've all got to start doing more around the house to help one another. And that was actually quite a tense time for our family, trying to regain some balance. And so being at school where you knew where you stood, and you knew what you were doing, and you knew it was safe, you knew that it wasn't going to change suddenly like it had at home, was actually great for me. And I mean, obviously I'd always choose home. If I was given the choice, I'd always choose home over school, because who wouldn't? I mean, my mum's at home, and I love my mum and my brother, I love them so much. So I wouldn't choose school over home, but sometimes school was that safe place, and I didn't want to be at home sometimes. But I mean, I think going back to school was probably one of the first steps in me actually getting some control and getting somewhere with my life. Like I said, you stop for a bit, and going back to school was the first kind of movement in the chains of life. So it was actually really beneficial at school.